Good day, everyone. How are you? I hope that you are all doing great today. So today we're going to tackle a new lesson, and I hope that you will learn a lot today. So let's have a review first. So last time we have discussed what technical and operational definition is, right? So what is technical and operational definition, if you still can remember it? So when we say technical definition, it is used to introduce the vocabulary that makes the communication in a particular field concise and clear. While when we say operational definition, defines how a word or phrase is used when it is applied in a specific context. Okay? Let's have our first activity wherein you're going to give the definition of each picture being presented based on your own word, alright? So the first word is war. In your own word, what is the definition of war? So a war can be a state or period of fighting between states or nations. So the second one is climate change. Okay, so climate change can be a long-term shift in global or regional climate patterns. So the third word is pandemic. So based on your own understanding or based on your own word, what is the definition of a pandemic? So a pandemic is an epidemic of an infectious disease that has spread across a large region, for instance, multiple continents or worldwide, affecting a substantial number of individuals. So what do? We also define ideas based on our own words, but before this lesson, we were able to discuss different techniques or approaches to making expanded or what we call extended definition. So we're going to talk today of what expanded definition is. So this lesson will inform you about expanded definitions of words, which is commonly used in formal papers or academic essays to ensure that misunderstanding or miscommunication will not happen. So this lesson will also introduce you to the different techniques or approaches to making expanded definitions. So what is an expanded definition? So expanded definition goes deeper with a simple dictionary definition, offering an expanded analysis and illustration of a concept that might be abstract, debatable, controversial, unfamiliar, or frequently misunderstood. So in giving expanded definition, so the first one is distinguishing the characteristic of a certain word. Second, providing extra facts or information about it. Number 3, giving examples. Number 4, saying what cannot be included to describe it. Okay, so we have here an example. So read the paragraph below. Observe how a definition is developed by taking note of the numbered statements. So what is being defined in this paragraph? Okay, so we have here Mother Nature. Okay, what is the synonym or other term given to the Mother Nature? Okay, so it is Mother Earth or the Earth Mother, right? Under what category or general class does Mother Nature falls? Okay, so we have, it is a personification of nature. What other term or what other definition were given to Mother Nature? Okay, so we have here that Mother Nature focuses on the life-giving and nurturing aspects of nature by embodying it in the form of the mother. Next, what other description were given to the term defined? Okay, so we have here Mother Nature, images of women representing Mother Earth and Mother Nature are timeless. Okay, so now let's proceed to the next one. What historical background was given to explain the term defined? Okay, so we have here, so the 3 and 4 sentences. That is the historical background given to the term Mother Nature, or the term being defined, which is Mother Nature. Okay, so one of the first things to do when you write an expanded definition is to compose the formal sentence definition of the term you are writing about. Placing it toward the beginning of the expanded definition helps establish the focus of the rest of the discussion. So now let's proceed to what is formal and informal definition. So when we say formal definition, it consists of 3 parts. So the first one, term is being defined. Second, the class it belongs to. And third, its distinguishing characteristics. Is informal. When we say informal, it explains an unfamiliar term using synonyms or antonyms introduced by, or in other words, or like. Take note of how the term's sense of humor was defined. Let's have an example. So in formal definition, it has 3 essential parts. So we have the term, which is the sense of humor, and the class where the sense of humor belongs to. So it is the ability. And last is the distinguishing characteristic of the sense of the term defined, which is the sense of humor, so to laugh and make others laugh. While in informal definition, we only have synonyms of the words of the term being defined, which is sense of humor. So it means to appreciate a joke or to perceive humor. So that is the example of informal definition. Again, when we say formal definition, it has 3 essential parts, which are the term, class, and the distinguishing characteristic, while in informal, it's only the synonyms of the term defined. Okay? Alright, so now let's proceed to the next one. In what means are we going to expand the definition, or what are the different techniques? So here are the learning words or phrase. I have here the table showing the techniques, how to do it, and the example. So the first one is etymology. We're talking about a word origin. When we try to explain the origin of a word, then that's etymology. When we add an etymology of the words, that's one way for us to expand the definition. So for example, arbitration from the Latin word arbitrary, meaning to judge. Okay, so the next technique is historical references or background. So how to do it? So if relevant, discussing the history of the term, its use, controversies associated with it. So for example, the term is arbitrary, right? So you're going to discuss how the use of arbitration as third-party mediation dates from the 1630s and how the practice came about. So the next technique in expanding definition is the cause and effect, wherein it discusses how the situation came about and what effects it may have. So for example, in the case of arbitration, cause and effect may be the same as the history. Okay? Next technique is the description, listing and defining the component parts, identifying smaller or more familiar pieces of an idea to the definition of the bigger concept using a word that creates a picture in the reader's mind so that the reader might relate through memories of sound, sight, touch, hearing, or smell. So for example, arbitration is conducted by a trained arbiter who sets down the rules that the parties must abide by. So when we try to refer to what happened in the past, we are giving the description. So in description, again, it explains or describe the word. Okay? Next. So the next technique is principles of operation. So discussing how topic in question functions, including any special materials or condition required. For example, from Abron ADR services, send the other party notice of your intent to pursue arbitration. The claimant or the person initiating the case sends the respondent a demand letter. So this letter states the desire to submit and dispute the arbitration either by means of the contract's arbitration clause or by mutual consent. So the next technique is classification, showing how the topic fits into a larger category. So arbitration, for example, is one of the alternatives to going into a formal court to settle disputes. So the next technique is contrast or negation. So defining a term by explaining what the concept is not, showing how the topic differs from others in the same class. So for example, in arbitration proceeding, no lawyers are present. Next is the comparison, showing how the topic is similar to others in the class. So, for example, as with lawsuits or other court proceedings, the decision in an arbitration proceeding is legally binding on the parties. Next is analogy. Explained by comparing two dissimilar topics where the second is familiar to the audience. So for example, an arbiter is like a referee. He or she listens to both sides and make a decision as to who is at fault without the intervention of other or the outside parties. So the next technique is examples or anecdotes. So telling a story or example that illustrate the terms. So for example, arbitration was recently used to settle the dispute between the labor union and management. So the last technique is the illustration, wherein you're going to provide a picture or image that is used to clarify the text. Okay?
Okay, good day class. Now let's move on to our learning task 1. Okay, here is the directions. Match the term or the word in column A to its possible expanded definition in column B. And then write the letter of your answer on the blank before each number. Okay? Great, now let's move on. So we have the column A and the column B here. So let's have the first number or the number 1. We have the word Alzheimer's disease. So all you have to do is to find the possible expanded definition for the word Alzheimer's disease. Is it A or B? Okay. So the expanded definition for Alzheimer's disease is letter B. It only means, class, affected individuals are at first forgetful. As the memory disorder gradually worsens, the individuals, although able to recall occurrences in the distant past, but they are unable to remember the recent events. So that is the expanded definition for Alzheimer's disease. How about for the number 2? We have the word happiness. Great. So we have the letter A. So when we say happiness, what makes people happy? For us mortals, a few extra coins in the pocket, a new friend, an excellent dish, a good book may bring pleasure. Others pursue happiness through wealth, power, or or fame. So that is the expanded definition for the word happiness. Okay, now let's move on to number 3. So when we say friendship, so what is the best expanded definition you can you can connect to this, or you can have this one? Okay, so it's the letter E. So when we say friendship, class, this is if either one of two friends is involved in difficulty, such as problems with failing courses of schools, or even problems of a much more serious nature. So the other friend will provide help, encouragement, concern, and perhaps even direct intervention. Okay, very well said. Number 4, we have the computer memory. So which of these expanded definitions in column B best or fit with the word computer memory? Okay, so we have the letter C. So when we say computer memory, it is one of the 3 basic components of a computer which stores information for future use. So both data that will be operated on, as well as the programs that direct the operations to be performed. Okay, that is the expanded definition for computer memory. Okay, for the last one, so we have the word speed. Okay, now, so when we say speed, it's a letter D. So this moves the vehicle from a stationary to a slow speed of about less than 10 kilometers per. Okay, very well said. Now let's move on to our learning task 2, which is the true or false. So the instructions, you have to decide whether each statement is true or false. So for the number 1, expanded definition of word goes deeper than a simple dictionary definition. So what's your answer? Is it true or false? Great. So this is true. Very good. Now the number 2, you could illustrate the concept of a word with anecdotes from your personal life or examples from the news or current events, or you could write an opinion piece. Is it true or false about expanded definition? Very good. It's true. How about number 3? So we have here the structure of expanded definition of word consists of formal sentence definition from the dictionary, followed by the appropriate techniques that will help you explain further the term of the reader. So what is your answer? Is it true or false about expanded definition? Very good. It's true. Alright, how about in number 4? Providing etymology means explaining by comparing two dissimilar topics where the second is familiar to the audience. So is it true or false about etymology? Okay, this is false, meaning to say this should be what? Analogy. Okay, how about number 5? We have a whale is not a fish is an example of a technique called negation. Is this correct? Okay, so this one is an example of negation. Okay, very well said. Now let's move on to our learning task 3. So the directions from the word pool below, you have to determine the techniques or the approaches used in the number statements found in the expanded definition of freedom. Okay, class. So these words in the box: negation, examples, description, historical reference, the etymology. These are the techniques or approaches used in creating a expanded definition. Okay, so let's have the number 1. You can say your answer. You can state your answer or choose your answer from the words here in this box. Okay, so for the number 1, to our colonial forefathers, freedom. Okay, so what technique or approach used in this statement? Is it negation, examples, descriptions, etymology, or historical reference? Very well said. So the number 1 is an example of negation. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Old English freedom power of self-determination meant achieving independence from foreign powers. So the Filipinos fought countless battles, resulting to bloody revolutions since the 19th century under the Spanish government, and the sacrifice and death of Filipinos in the hands of Japanese forces during the World War II. So what technique or approach is used in this statement, class? Okay, so this one, or this expanded definition, use etymology. Very good. Now for the number 3. Since the Philippines won the right to rule itself, our country has been referred to as land of bondage, land of the free by the late statesman Raul Manglapos. So what technique or approach is used in this statement, class? Or used in this expanded definition? Okay, so this is an example of historical reference. Great job. Okay, for the number 4, true freedom means the ability to think, feel, say, or act however one chooses. Okay, so we have great. So this one is examples, because in order for you to understand more the freedom, there are examples provided for such as the think, feel, say, or act. Okay. For the number 5, class, it is a state where the bars of bondage. It is a state where the bars of bondage do not exist. Unfortunately, there is still the humankind's continuing struggle for freedom, as the widening gap between the haves and have-nots is evident in terms of equal education opportunities. So, what technique or approach is used in this statement or in this expanded definition? Very well said. So this one uses description. Very good. Okay, I think we're done with learning task 3. Okay, have to congratulate yourself. Give yourself a round of applause. Okay, now let's move on to our asynchronous task. You have to fill in the semantic web with your ideas on what makes or unmakes a good friend. You may use the given template for webbing, then write an expanded definition of friend based on the given ES. Okay, so we have the semantic web here. Okay, we have the word friend that you're going to you're going to define using expanded definition. Okay, so you have to provide synonyms for the word friend, and then you have to provide extra facts or information. In this one class, I know that all of you have friends. All of you have friends, or let's just say colleagues, or like that, or such things. You may try to describe them, and then you try to use the description that you have provided, and you use it here. You may type it, or let's just say use that to define the word friend. Okay, and then for the third one, you have to give examples. You may write the name of your friends. Okay, or also you may include the names of your favorite characters in the movies, or maybe in the books that you have observed a strong friendship, like that. Okay, or example of a good friend, or a character that shows a good friendship, like that. So you may include the names there, and then identify distinguishing characteristics, because there are different traits for each friend. Okay, so you may also identify those characteristics. Okay, so for you to be able to give an expanded definition for the word friend. Okay, so do you have any question? If you have any question, just let us know. Okay, we're just one message away, and I hope that everyone is doing great today. And okay, we're gonna learn a lot. You just have to be participative and in our discussion. Okay, all right. So if you have any question, let's have this one. So So your asynchronous task would be 10 points, and the deadline would be on May 27, 2022. Okay, since you don't have any question, let's end our discussion. And okay, take care and goodbye. Let's call it a day. Let's call it a day.